Well, hello everybody and welcome to Chef's Baking Blog. Today I'm going to be making some Nice biscuits. Nice is spelled N-I-C-E, so you would normally pronounce it nice, but in the case of these biscuits it's pronounced Nice. And it may well be that the biscuits originate from Nice in France. There is a story of Queen Victoria enjoying these biscuits and visiting Nice or something like that. But whatever, they're quite a light biscuit with coconut in and with some sugar sprinkled on the top. So for the ingredients I have 225 grams, which is 1 cup of softened butter, 200 grams, which is about 1.5 cups of plain flour. I have 50 grams, which is 2/3 of a cup of desiccated coconut, that's unsweetened. I have 100 grams, which is 3/4 of a cup of corn flour or cornstarch. I have a pinch of salt. If you use salted butter, you don't need that pinch of salt. I'm using unsalted butter. And I have 110 grams, which is a scant 1 cup of icing sugar. I would also be using a couple of tablespoons of granulated sugar once we've rolled the cookies out. So the first thing I'm going to do is to put the salt and the coconut and the corn flour into the bowl with the flour, and I'm just going to give that a stir around. I've got a spoon instead of a fork, but it doesn't matter. I just want to get those a little bit combined. So that's okay. So then I'm going to put the icing sugar, and you could sieve this, but I'm not going to because I'm going to be beating it with the beater, into the butter, and then I need to cream it together until it's light and fluffy. Now you could do it by hand, but I'm going to use my my hand mixer. I'll start slowly so that the icing sugar doesn't go everywhere. And then I'll speed up. So that's nice and fluffy. And then I'm going to simply pour the dry ingredients in. And I'm going to mix those until they come together to form a dough. So they will start to clump, and then I'll use my hand to pull it into the dough. So as you can see, that very quickly starts to clump. So I'm going to just get the excess off the beaters. And then I need to pull the remaining flour into that mixture. And that's almost ready. So what I'm going to do is tip that out onto some plastic wrap and then I'll pull it together on the plastic wrap and squeeze it until it all comes together into a dough. So I'm just going to squeeze that with my hands, and I can feel that butter, and I'm going to turn it over so that we make sure everything is coated in the butter. And that's quite soft, and we're going to have to chill that, and I'm going to put that into the fridge and chill it for 30 to 40 minutes, and then while that's chilling I'm going to preheat my oven to 350 degrees Celsius, 180 degrees Celsius, 160 degrees Celsius with a fan, 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm going to line some baking trays with parchment paper, and then I'll come back and we'll roll this out. So the dough has chilled, and the oven is preheated. So what I've done is I've taken about a third of the dough, and I've already actually baked some just so I could check the baking time. Now what I'm going to do is just give this a squeeze to make it a little bit malleable. And then I'm going to roll it out to about a quarter of an inch, or just under a quarter of an inch, 3 millimeters in thickness. It may crack a bit, but it doesn't matter. So that's rolled quite well. So then I'm going to take a cutter, and this is the cutter I'm going to take, and it's got scalloped edges, and I'm just going to press down. You can do any shape you want really, but this is the traditional shape for Nice biscuits. And then with those like that, I'm going to transfer them onto my baking sheet. But before I do that, I'm just going to impress the word Nice on them. You don't have to do this. Like that, and I'm going to transfer them onto the baking sheet. And then I'm going to take some sugar, granulated sugar, and I'm just going to sprinkle it over the top liberally, like that. And I'm going to put those into the oven and bake them for 12 minutes. Then I'll take them out and put them onto a wire rack. I'll let them cool for 2 minutes, then I'll put them onto a wire rack and let them cool completely. I'll bake the remainder, and then I'll come back and we'll have a taste. So I baked our Nice biscuits for 12 minutes, and I got 30 out of that recipe, and I let them cool down, and I've put them onto a cooling rack, and this is what they look like. And they're nice and crispy. I've already eaten one and a bit, so I'll just have a taste of this one. They're not over sweet. They're sweet, and you can taste the coconut, and they have a lovely crunch to them. Very, very good. Of course, you can buy them in the shops in packets, but making them yourself is just as rewarding, I think. So that's going to be it for this recipe. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, please give me the thumbs up below the video and click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner of the screen there will be an eye that you can click on, and that will take you to this recipe, and I'll put a link to it below the video as well. And I'll be back with another recipe in the very near future, so until then, happy baking.